Hello and welcome to another Legacia forum. We are always glad to have your time. Your viewership means a lot to us. In today's forum, we are going to discuss about the voice. We are going to bring to life the voice of a young Kenyan as regards the world of work and the world of learning. As it is, every strong nation builds its human capacity. And when young people are empowered, there is hope for future economic advancement. In Kenya, we are doing well in as far as provision of education is concerned. Actually, at the moment, people can easily access tertiary education, even higher education. We have universities, we have TVET colleges, and that is really not where our problem lies. The problem from research has been noted from reports that sometimes access to education is not the same or does not translate into learning. And while it is good to equip our young people with certificates, with diplomas and degrees, and even postgraduate education, that knowledge and that skill is still in its potential form. The reality or the relevance of those credentials comes to life when you're able to apply that knowledge and that skill to productive activities. Be it that somebody gets into an entrepreneurial activity or an occupation, or a young person could choose to get into self-employment, begin a startup, which is brilliant, or they could find their place in the industry and be employed somewhere. But the aspect of learning should translate into working so that we have productivity in our economy. So I found myself in that space at one time. I really wanted to combine the world of work and the world of learning. I had just finished my CPA. I was a second year student in the university, and I had that small mkutano that we keep talking about. I called myself to a meeting and told Gloria, you know what? You're not going to continue with business as usual. You now have skills, you now have knowledge, and the best thing that you can do with your life right now is to go work. I did not want to wait until when I graduate. And I did the regular thing. Between April, when we had just finished our second semester, in September, I was very hopeful. I had faith, actually. I believed that God would give me a job. But days became weeks. Weeks became months. It was getting close to August. Dropping CVs without reply. Job search can be frustrating. Waking every day as though I have a place to call work. But actually the work that I heard was to look for work. I know that space. Even with great determination, frustration comes into the way, but you have to keep moving. So a ray of sunshine came by one day. I got a call from one of the 5-star hotels right here in Nairobi. And you can tell the night before, I kept perusing my documents, whether everything is in order. I asked myself some of the questions they would ask, and I would try to rehearse in my mind what the appropriate responses would be. And I reported at 8:15 because they told me the interview would begin at 8:30. At 8:15, I was right at the HR's desk. I identified myself, stated I had been invited for an interview, and told them I was ready to start whenever they are ready. To a bit of my surprise, the lady on the desk asked me which position. Also went on to tell me that interviews are conducted in the afternoon in the organization. So I politely told her to confirm the information if she could, but she told me she wasn't the one who had called. So I wanted to keep the environment positive and told her that I will be back in the afternoon. So sure it was. At 2, I was back. I was perturbed. I found a different lady on the desk. I told the lady, I introduced myself, told her I had come in the morning for an interview, but I was notified that all interviews are conducted in the afternoon. She asked me which position I was being interviewed for. I told her, and she told me the interviews were done at 10. That for me was frustration. I remember it, and I know that that is the voice of every person who wants to translate their learning into work. Before you bridge that gap, a lot happens. And sometimes you can be tempted to give up. But that just paints the picture of how the environment is. Needless to say, I had to go home and continue looking. And that's what Kenyans do every day. They pretty much send applications. Nobody even replies to tell them that there's no vacancy. And some give up along the way. But the idea is to understand the landscape you're working in, the environment that you're working in. Facts are facts. The number of job seekers outweigh the jobs that are on offer. And sometimes what the industry needs is not what you're holding at the moment. There could be a disparity there. And you find that people who have the certificates, who have the education, they find themselves in jeopardy when they realize that the paper that they so wanted to acquire, it is still not enough to open that door that they wanted. Before you get yourself into that loop, because the loop happens pretty often, you need to be very honest with yourself. And I had to also check that so that I could see whether I need to keep going. What drives somebody to acquire education? Before we think about the external environments that we pretty much cannot control, it is important for an individual to clarify, was the education an employment ticket? Was it a channel to escape poverty? Was it something that you were hoping could get you into a certain position? Or were you doing it perhaps for a status to say that I have acquired it? The idea is get to know, get to be in touch with the reason why you build your skill. Another aspect, before taking any course, it is important to have the right information. You realize that the basis on which you settle for a certain learning will not translate into work if you relied on the wrong information. And influencers also come in the way. Who influenced you to take the degree or to take the diploma or to take the certificate that you did? How much information did they know about careers? And to ensure that we are building a seamless transition between the world of work and the world of learning, it becomes very imperative that we start looking at learning as an aspect that is built from an innate need for curiosity. So in Legacia, we help bridge that gap between the world of work and the world of learning. We help translate those expectations into reality, ensuring that you can navigate seamlessly your world of education and your world of career, providing you a premium online guidance system, coming with your own portfolio that you can use for your entire career, showing you the sort of broad information that you need and the tools you need to utilize, even past learning into employability skills. Creating your CVs can be done online, your cover letters can be done online. This is a tool that every child needs, every young person needs. So as an influencer, perhaps you have a child, you realize that one of the problems that happens is when your aspiration as a parent vis-a-vis your children passions and aptitudes, when they are a world apart, that is bound to create some stress. So you want to make sure that you give your children an opportunity to realize what they are best at so that they can have their best life, achieve their dreams, and eventually leave an impact. That is what life is all about. So thank you for watching us, and we never finish our shows without asking you a question. Perhaps you have already translated that world of work into learning. I would be glad to hear, just like I have shared my own story, what were your frustrations when you were out there looking for a place to utilize your education? What sort of loops, sort of frustrations came your way when you were looking for a job? Or perhaps it's happening right now. I'd be glad to hear from you.